Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another That Scuffed Up, episode 17, coming at you real fast, real soon. As of right now, Justin Lee and Stephen Hayden on the other side got another episode for you guys. Gonna be a little bit of a shorter one, but overview for today. We just had the first week of the summer OC Wffleball Classic come through here and gone away. Next week Sunday, no games at all. We're gonna have about a week break and then come back the following Sunday with more games on the docket, and then obviously the rest of the games finals. All will happen on that final Sunday, August 13th. Everything else, we'll talk. We're gonna mention some stories later on, but I think the big meat of the brunt will be talking about the OC Wffleball Summer Classic and what have been our thoughts about what it went on during those games. But Stephen Hayden on the other side, how you doing today? How you feeling, sir?
I'm pretty tired and pretty sore right now. Been a whole lot. We'll get into it more. There's been a whole lot of wiffle for me. I've played about 11 games in the past 2 days, so I'm feeling it today. I've still got my bum knee, so I'm just trying to. A good thing this sit down thing is there much physical activity. I'm not sure I'd be able to do this, but I'm just kind of drained right now. But I'm ready to. I'm good enough to do this at least.
Fair enough, yeah. And I don't know if you're going to get a break or anything like that, but you had SoCal Wffleball Tournament on Saturday, OC Wffleball Summer Classic on Sunday, and then right after you had SoCal Wffleball Series against PJ's team. And so I don't know what the training room is like at the Stephen Hayden household, but it must be pretty busy right now.
And then I got a baseball playoff game on when this podcast comes out on Wednesday. So and then after that I'm going up north for a few days for a family wedding. Then I'll be traveling out of state for another family wedding, and so these next 2 weeks are gonna be very busy for me in terms of just getting out, just doing stuff and trying to maintain myself. But we're doing all right so far. I'm just gonna look like I have a chance today just to kind of sit around and do not do too much. Just go to the gym a little later on, and that just kind of try to recover from all the activity I had.
Yeah, weddings are usually fun. The free food and stuff like that. So it'll give you a little bit of recovery time because for the most part you just kind of have to sit there, go to a reception type of thing, and then everything else kind of comes unfold. But have fun on those trips though. But a little shout out here to the SoCal Mavericks who have officially made it into the fourth spot for the Sunset League playoffs. So they'll play this Wednesday at 6 o'clock up at Cal Poly Pomona. So good luck to them. By the time that this video is out, they should be playing on the same day. So good luck to them, and hopefully you guys win one and pull one out of the jacket.
Yeah, we made it to the fourth seed. The top four teams make it. We take on the OC Pirates first, who I believe have records something like 23-3, something like that. We did beat them. We did hand them one of those losses. But overall, I think we got a shot against them. We played them a couple times. We lost a couple times really close to them. A very good offense. They scored 246 runs in 28 games. They have a record of 25-3 and only allowed 100 runs. So they're a very good team. But I think we got a chance to do some damage against them. We handed them their first loss of the year, so hopefully we can hand them this loss and move on to the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. OC Pirates have been kind of that big, win driving machine, well-oiled. Obviously, SoCal Mavericks have seen some type of weakness in them, giving them that one loss. But yeah, good luck to them on Wednesday. And you and I will both be out there. So catch that game if you want. Our man Dylan Hoffman, shout out to him, who will talk about also participating with his guys in the OC Wffleball Summer Classic. Shout out to him and his staff to be able to manage everything. I know it's been kind of hectic over there with some of the things going around. Trying to deal with the roster stuff, running a team. Having that short break between games and stuff like that. So props to him for managing this team, and good luck to the Mavericks.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can get one of these out here. I think the first round single elimination, so we get that game. I think we might go to a best of 3 after that. Hopefully we can get that one out. That'll be live streamed on YouTube. Just look up SoCal Mavericks baseball if you're interested. It's a 6 p.m. game at Cal Poly Pomona. So hopefully we're able to get the job done, but we'll soon find out.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into what we need to talk about today, and that's the OC Wffleball Summer Classic. A total of 6 teams have entered the competition. We got Wiffle D's, who everyone knows well from their Instagram, and being the one team that came in new last season. OC Seals are a new one. They're a culmination of a couple of baseball prospects, but they're run by Ryan Lavelle, who was on the Angel Hernandez Strike Zone team. You also got OC Wffleball, who is basically us, Stephen Hayden, Jordan Drexler, and you've got Dustin Staggs, Christopher Lee, and Ethan Lee, and then myself, of course. You got OC Smash, who is a team made up of players from SM, or graduated from SM, I should say. And you've got the MS Warriors, who is made up of Dylan Hoffman's guys. So we'll talk about them in a minute, about their roster, which was a big surprise. And then Tiger Town Batters is Anthony Agrusa's team, so the commissioner of OC Wffleball himself, taking on with a group of newer individuals. We'll talk about their roster a little bit as well. But this whole tournament thing is kind of experimental with some of the rules and stuff. We're implementing a lot of different things that you typically don't see in the OC Wffleball regular season games themselves. So this is kind of our little petri dish to kind of work on a few different rules here and there, try a new little nuanced stuff. For example, we got a fence out there that did not extend all the way on both sides. So we had kind of like some markers, cones out there to kind of mark where the edge was. The rules are different with terms of hits. So if you want to see, more details about those rules, go to OC Wffleball's Instagram. The whole graphic is there. It's a pretty cool retro thing that your man here put together himself. Stephen Hayden finalized and officiated all the rules on there. So both of us had put our own work into that post, and then obviously got put up there on the Instagram. So we're putting our work in for the whole thing. And interesting day. It was pretty humid out there. I sweating all over the place. So yeah, let's get into it. Your initial thoughts, about coming out to Tustin Heritage Park and seeing a bunch of new faces that we've never seen in the league before.
It was different. It was different out there. You see a lot of familiar guys. You see some people teaming up, coming in from different teams, such as MS Warriors. You have some different people coming in to team up, create almost like a super team. And then with our team, you have the guy that runs SoCal Wffleball, which we talked about a lot, which I also play in. As also was kind enough to play with us. Also, those were his fences out there, so he was kind enough to let us use his fences, and also one of the screens was his as well. So we appreciate you, Dustin, for letting us do that, and also just coming out to play with us. You get some normality. The Wiffle Bees had their guys. Anthony had a mixture of guys, some newer guys, some guys that had played in the league already. But overall, I think it was a good group, and he created some. It's going to create some good matchups, especially as we get closer to the postseason. The 2 teams played 3 games on Sunday, and then the other 4 teams only played 2, and that'll be swapped around for the second week on August 6th, where Wiffle D's and OC Wffleball were the 2 teams that played 3 games. The next time they'll only play 2, whereas the other 4 teams will play 3. So that third field will be used more, things like that. So it should be interesting to see for the next time. But we gotta focus on this week's first of what happened.
Yeah, so this first week was all pool play. So this is just kind of to determine that record of where you're seeding for the the quarterfinals and the playoff round, basically. So because this is meant to be kind of the MLB Classic or like FIFA type of styles. You got the pool play guys, then you determining on your record at the end of the pool play, then that determines where you're gonna be seated in the bracket type of deal. So we'll start off by talking about these games and kind of what we saw out there, and then we can talk about some of the guys who were on those teams, like who we thought, like what we thought about initially about them, and then like where the talent wise things stand by. So the first game was with Wiffle D's and OC Seals. Wiffle D's obviously is the same group of guys that were there the summer season. OC Seals are actually a makeup between or like I said, Ryan Lavelle had some prospects out there, and there's some guys out there I think from Anton Hernandez Strike Zone, and so they're actually going to be a team coming into this next season. They are going to have their own jerseys. They have their own logos. So they're actually going to be a new team coming into the fall season. So this is kind of their like exhibition coming into that. But so yeah, Wiffle D's came out on top against OC Seals. 12-10 was the final score of this first game. I know we were playing our own game a little bit while that was happening, but I don't know if you were looking over at theirs. Did you see anything at all that was interesting about this game?
When you have the same speed limit and you give teams these bigger bats, you're going to see a lot more offense going on. Good number of home runs going on out here. The fences are a little deeper, but that big barrel bat does help you hit the ball further. We saw a few of those go on. These are able to hold on and get the win. 12-10 is I wasn't seeing the OCs, seeing these teams. I didn't know you don't know how the roster is going to be set out until you're out there. Wiffle D's, they started all hot with the bats, which is funny. The regular season they were a team that was pitching well, but then wasn't hitting too much. But I think as they started playing more wiffle ball and getting more used to this style of play, they've kind of adjusted more. And the big road bats were able to help them out a lot. And then with the speed limit not changing, we tried to change the speed limit or the distance or something to make it a little more even for the hitter. You're gonna get this stuff where you get a lot more high scoring games, which you're gonna see a lot more as we go along here.
Yeah, absolutely. For their squad, we've seen a preview of what they look like, so we can kind of predict somewhat, like where they might end up, but they're off to a pretty good start as a result of this first day. Next game, though, was the game that we played against a group of guys coming from Santa Margarita High School. If you're out there, you can see their shorts had the SM logo on there. So I think Ethan had a chance to talk to them a little bit. They're a group of baseball players from Santa Margarita Catholic High School that were out there just trying to have a little bit of fun. So it's kind of cool to see like a new group of guys enter the playing scene that we've never seen before. And a lot of baseball players like to come out to wiffle ball games and kind of test their skills a little bit. Obviously, the result was a little bit of a struggle for their first game, first experience, going up against a team of experienced veterans. But it was fun to play, against their team as well. Just kind of see talent-wise, like what's the, transition between baseball and wiffle ball skills. And I think that kind of tells you, the score kind of tells you, the whole story in itself. Final score, 18-5. OC Wffleball gets the first win against OC Seals.
Yeah, I mean, some people may be looking, I was supposed to see it was the team name is OC Wffleball. That was put in there. Especially with me being the captain of a lot of OC Wffleball teams and tournaments, I decided to have our team name is OC Wffleball in there. Funny of having a guy from SoCal, the guy who went SoCal Wffleball in there though, but. I know we got OC Wffleball got started off pretty quickly. Steven with a 2-run homer in his first at bat. Chris Lee had a grand slam. By the time the first inning was over, it was 8-0. Steven and Jordan both pitched well. This game wasn't able to be completed just because it was starting to take a little long. A good number of walks. Got a little welcome to this style of play moment when Dustin Staggs was playing left field, had a ball popped up, was running towards the fence, had the ball in his hands, and then had the ball pop out of his hands, which was unfortunate. That's what made it an 18-5 game. But overall, OC Wffleball is one of the top teams here. in this tournament. You know, they won, a lot of these guys won the spring 2023 championship as well. So I think they can be a real contender to win this thing. OC Smash, you know, it's their first game getting adjusted to the style. We'll see how they do later on. They got one more game later on, but overall, I think they have some improvement and could possibly scare a team or two in the playoffs. They just got to see. You got to see what the seeding is. But OC Wffleball looked real good that first game.
Yeah, Dustin making that play out there, kind of. I gave him a little bit of dirt for it, you know. I mean, we're all gonna give each other a little bit of dirt, but you know, it's about.
Yeah, we'll talk more about some other dirt later.
Yeah, you know, we're just giving some support to guys like that. You know, I like being able to play against those veteran baseball players. You know, you kind of get to see, you know, the difference between wiffle ball and baseball. You know, some people think like the transition's seamless. Like, sure, you can say that with the batting thing, but when you're seeing pitches that break way more than the baseball, I think it's a whole different game. And then the Dustin Staggs thing out there was like a, you know, kind of a Joe Odell type of play, like in his early rookie career, stuff like that. But I think it was a fun game. In conclusion, and we had 3 games in the day, so it was like the first one of the day, 6 innings, and then, you know, got cut off because of time constraint type of deal, and then you could consider it maybe like a mercy type of rule thing, but you know, that's just, you know, we had to keep the games going because we were already hitting the way other side of the clock on the time there, so had to move on from that. Yeah, but no, I thought it was a fun one to play against, you know, see talent-wise what kind of guys are out there on the field, and see how far they'll go. They actually do bounce back after this game, which we'll get to in a second. So
you get a new group. You get a new group out there. You're trying to figure things out. You know, we see a lot of these teams in the regular season as well. They're trying to figure things out there, try to learn on the fly. So that's what was kind of happening that first game, and OC Wffleball was able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely. Took very good advantage of that. Next game, though, we returned back to our friends, the Wiffle D's, taking on Anthony's team, the Tigertown Batters. Anthony's team had a makeup of 2 new guys and individual from the Angel Hernandez strike zone. The name is not coming to my head right now. But Wiffle D's took this one with more runs. 18-9, your final score against the Tigertown Batters.
Yeah, they start off with a leadoff home run, and then they just continue on from there. Wiffle D's were they were just attacking at the plate, able to limit the Tigertown batters. The Tigertown, I saw a few errors out there in the outfield, in terms of like making plays and things like that. But Wiffle D's doing a great job out there hitting, and able to keep the pitching well enough so that so far out there, you have a game where they allowed 9 and 10 runs in their first game. That's not too bad. That's not too bad for them given this new style of play. So overall, I think Wiffle D's is they could be that surprise team. They could end up being in that 3 seed, I think, and be able to if they get that 2-3 matchup in the playoffs, they could possibly beat that 2 seed, depending on whether it's. Could be most likely it could be a team like MS Warriors or OC Wffleball, but we'll see who it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look back at some of the games that's already happened so far with Wiffle D's, right? And I think for a lot of other teams, like we'll talk about in a sec, like a lot of these games are very high scoring games. So you know, the speed limit thing kind of played a factor, and then the bats obviously is the biggest key difference between this and the regular season. You know, you give the batter the advantage with a bigger, you know, bat with a bigger surface area, so you have a bigger chance of getting those balls past defenders and get them out to the outfield. And then you're going to see more home runs because we actually have a rule and a fence out there now, which kind of blocks you from going beyond that outer cone to be able to catch home runs and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people were having fun. It was like a big slugfest so far with these ones. But on the other side, you had this other big game that was happening at the same time, which was, I mean, you can count this as like the all-star game in a sense. They had a lot of talent out there, you know, some guys who were award winners. So I'm talking about the OC Wffleball team taking on the MS Warriors. MS Warriors had a culmination of Drake and Dylan Hoffman, and then you had the Hendrickson brothers, so True and Shaden out there, including Kyle Fromm. And then OC Wffleball obviously has Stephen Hayden, Jordan Drexler, and then a very talented player in Dustin Staggs. Your final score for this one, OC Wffleball comes out on top, 3-1, low scoring game, and OC Wffleball moves on to get their second win of the day.
Easily the game of the day. You know, we've seen a lot of these other games, even the ones later on. They have a lot of offense. This one, it was more of a pitcher's duel. You had Dylan Hoffman pitching a lot. You had Hayden mixing in there as well for the MS Warriors. We're doing pretty good job against the OC Wffleball, especially they scored 18 runs in 4 innings against the Smash. OC Wffleball, they had Dustin starting on the mound to give them a different look, and then Steven pitched as well. Both of them pitched 3 innings. Only run they allowed was in the 6th inning, based off of a couple mistakes from our right side infielder. But it was a very good game. Jordan Drexler with a solo home run in the game. Dustin Sachs with a couple hits. I had a hit in there. It was more of a battle in there. I think that could very easily be a potential finals matchup between these two games. And if it is, I think next time they play each other, there'll probably be some more runs going along in there, because I think there were a lot of swings and misses on some pitches. I think next time each team could connect on. But both teams are very careful with each of their other players and things like that. But this is a great game overall, and I think OC Wffleball with that group, I think they get a huge advantage in terms of the standings after getting this win.
Yeah, absolutely. For myself, obviously, we had some issues on the infield part of things. I know it was intended to have myself out there in the outfield. One play did get by me with the infield stuff. Took a bounce that could not predict with the uphill. So right field on the field that we were playing had kind of an incline, so it was a little slanted. A ground ball got hit, bounced to my right as I was going to the left to go capture it. So it took a weird bounce. And then the second play just had a simple out and threw it like literally between the bar and the net, and it went through that part. So obviously, I guess that didn't count. But yeah, I mean, you get, obviously sometimes you get a little too comfortable in the moment, and then you start making mistakes, and you just gotta be able to reset and come back. And thankfully, it didn't come into play as a big consequence for the team, just only allowing 1 run, and then the final score obviously being 3-1. But yeah, like you said, it's a big preview of like what we could see in the finals. These are probably the 2 strongest teams that you'll see in this tournament. But I think based off of what we've seen so far from some of the scores, like it could very well be up there in terms of, especially for like Wiffle D's, who we'll talk about in a second here, who are already off to a 2-game winning streak off of this as well. The next series of games, though, you got. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, your thoughts about that. Yeah.
I still had some more to say, but we see with both OC Wffleball and MS Warriors, we see how good they are in the regular season. MS Warriors in this situation were containing guys from both the Purple Huskies and the MS Warriors. A lot of their top guys, such as their whole team could be all stars in this league, and both teams combined have won countless awards here. I've probably won just about every award in that you can get in OC Wffleball. So far, including you have 3 MVPs on the side of the MS Warriors, 3 MVP winners, 2 going to True, 1 going to Dylan, Cy Youngs, All-Star Game MVPs, all that stuff. You can put that on the Silver Slugger, Hank Aaron, Shaden, and things like that. Then OC Wffleball, you have Steven, who's won multiple awards, Manager of the Year, Hank Aaron Award, also won that World Series in 2023. And it could possibly be the MVP for the summer season. Guys like Jordan's won the Cy Young. Dustin won the MVP in his own league the previous year. And then just guys like Justin, Ethan, and Chris, who actually Ethan had to leave during the middle of this game, who are both very good role players and could be, if they figure some stuff out, they could be award winners in the future. But very, very tight game. Probably should have been a shutout for OC Wffleball. And I think both teams can. Yeah, I think this is one of those, like, pretty much the only two teams you're going to see a lot of low scoring. I think next time these two play each other, there could be a lot more high. It could be a lot more high scoring game. It's just going to be who's going to be able to get the hits off their main pitchers. And now the MS Warriors have seen Dustin. They hadn't really seen him much before. So it's going to be who's going to improve on that on this and come out on top. Right now, the OC Wffleball has the advantage. They could be leading that 1 seed. They won their first 2 games. It's going to be interesting to see how the next week goes. Once we get to things, everyone else is going to play 3 games, and now OC Wffleball and Wiffleballs want to play 2 games next week. We'll see if the other teams are able to catch up in the standings.
Yeah, for sure. So you couldn't have said it better myself. It's just that preview of things that might come down the road later on. Anyways, the next game, like I was going to say before, the OC Smash taking on the OC Seals. So a lot of OC teams in here with their team names using OC in there. OC Smash, like I said, was the team with the SM players. And then OC Seals was Ryan Lavelle's team. And with those baseball prospects that he had on his roster. We did not get the final score in terms like the numbers and stuff, but we do know that OC Smash did get the win. So they get their first win, their first taste of victory in this tournament. They used a different pitcher than what they used against the OC Wffleball team. It looked like he was working out effectively. But yeah, your thoughts about this game?
It looked like a pretty close game. Unfortunately, we've not got the score sent to us by Anthony. So we a lot of these scores so far, we had to look. A lot of them were for my team, or I had to go look up and ask somebody about them. But Anthony did not send us this score. It looked like a pretty close game. The Smash starting to figure stuff out. Hitting and pitching wise, they had a different guy going than what they had the first game. So we'll see how that affects them in the future. Their first guy for the Smash was decent against us. We were just hitting the ball. We were ready to go that first game of the day. But second game, they logged back in and finishing the first day with a 1-1 record. Seals not off to the best start, finishing the day with an 0-2 record. But we'll see if they're able to change that at all as we go into the next week. And then they play. So the Seals got to go play. Now they got to go play teams like the MS Warriors and OC Wffleball. Also Tiger Town Batters. So we'll see what happens here. They got to play 2 of the better teams. So we'll see. It's possible they could end up as the 5 or 6 seed. At the end of the day, someone has to finish in one of those seeds. But anything is possible. Those first 2 teams do get the bye, which can be helpful. Can also not be helpful. We've seen plenty of 1 and 2 seeds lose before. Not this past summer. We saw the 1 and 2 face off in the World Series. So. Interesting for both teams. We'll see what happens against some different competition on a different day.
Yeah, you're talking about the the seeding and everything like that. With the first round buys and stuff like that. I'd be very intrigued to see if the curse still lives, not just in the regular season, but also tournaments like this. Does the 1 seed get a win on a Orange County Wiffleball presented tournament? We've never seen that ever happen in the history of the league. We still have not seen it. Obviously with the Purple Huskies falling to the Bombers in the OC Wffleball Summer World Series. So that would be very funny if that continues to happen. So I guess we got to, if you want to win a championship, don't be the 1 seed in any of these things. So I guess we'll see if that comes to living truth here. But yeah, I think that's just a nuanced thing that we'll probably see later on. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it'd be we just gotta see how this tournament plays out. How August 6th games are going to be. I will most likely not be there on August 6th. Actually, so those teams. OC Wffleball still got to go to play teams they got to play the Seals and they got to play Wiffleballs. So we'll see how these teams do. We'll talk more about the future matchups in a minute, but it'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. So some people can make it to some of these games, some people won't be able to. Some people have conflicting issues, especially around this time of summer. People want to go out, have some fun, or they got vacation stuff, or they have some other family plans that's got happening. So there's a lot of different factors at play here that we'll see in the future once we get to August 6th. So yeah, the next game on our docket here is the Wiffle D's taking on the MS Warriors. So the MS Warriors in their second game, Wiffle D's in their third game. So you think they'd be gassed by now, but no, they went and did another double digits in the scoring board. But this time they just didn't have the pitching enough to be able to compete with the MS Warriors. MS Warriors put up 20 runs against Wiffle D's, so Wiffle D's takes their first loss, and MS Warriors get their first win of the tournament. 13-20 your final score.
MS Warriors, they found the bats again. They even had a couple guys leave during the game, like Drake Hoffman, True Hendrickson had to leave during the game, I believe. So they still had Kyle Froome, Dylan Hoffman, and Shaden Hendrickson out there. They were able to find the bats. Much more of a fun atmosphere out there. This could be a potential 2-3 matchup we see in the playoffs, which we'll see how Wiffle D's does in these future games. With Wiffle D's, they continue to hit the ball well. They're seeing it real well. MS Warriors, they're a group that can really hit. They kind of got shut out by OC Wffleball. They had base load a couple of times where OC Wffleball were unable to get those runs across. But we'll see how it is for these two teams. This could be very easily the battle between the 2 seed between the Wiffle D's and MS Warriors. Right now, Wiffle D's will be due to run difference will be second on the leaderboard, behind OC Wffleball due to the difference in runs between these teams. But overall, I think these two teams that have a good chance of winning this all. We'll just see how it plays out as we get down to August 13th.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got plenty more games down the line. I think we just see a good preview of what the MS Warriors will look like on the offensive side, using bigger bats in this scenario. I guess the pitching didn't exactly work out, but Wiffle D's look like they're coming into the third game, so they've seen a lot of pitches and they've seen a lot of different ways they throw. So being able to see that, you kind of build off of that, putting Legos together. So they look like they had things figured out. Just the pitching side of things, if you're going up against a team that has multiple award winners on there, it's going to be a tough matchup whatsoever, obviously. And that's kind of just the result that happens out of that. And then now you're in a situation where you got a preview of what all the other teams would look like. Obviously, the second week of games that will come up eventually is going to be your other preview of all the other teams. But that's just the whole thing about pool play, is just like you're kind of testing the water a little bit, and then once you get to the playoffs, then those teams a little better, and then you just try to put things together and figure it out, have a worked out plan, maybe a strategy, and then implement it and see if it works out for you. So this is the exhibition for all these teams in this tournament.
Yeah, I just got a chance to feel each other out and trying to see what these other teams have got, and we'll see what happens once we get to August 13th.
Absolutely. So this next game was a little bit interesting. So OC Wffleball taking on Tiger Town Batters. This game was actually cut off halfway through, and no official result has come in yet. As in terms of the what the tally is on this game, the score that I've got here reading is 10-10, so a tie game on that. But we don't know what the final conclusion would be on this. So I know you've got more of an in-depth story about this, so I'll let you talk about this a little bit. What happened for this game, and we'll discuss a little bit, in terms of what we want to talk about for this one.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I want to make public about this. I want to try to keep this more in-house between me and Anthony. There's a lot of stuff I was seeing going on. A lot of bad sportsmanship I was seeing from both sides. And starting off the game, let Jordan start the game. He gives up 3 home runs. He slams the ball on the ground in frustration. It was seen as unsportsmanlike conduct. To me, it wasn't seen as very super. It was more he was just unhappy with the fact he gave up 3 home runs. It didn't seem like it was anything personal against Anthony and them. I came in to pitch through a couple things with rule changes, and then controversy with I threw a strike and it had a ball hit the zone, which their team continued to say it wasn't. When in my opinion, I clearly saw it hit the zone. I clearly saw it. I clearly heard it hit the zone. I saw the ball change direction. There was some stuff about like some of the speed rules, some stuff. We had talked about some stuff about changing for this tournament, possibly for the regular season, that was now all of a sudden not being implemented. Some stuff with just fresh. I was kind of emotionally drained at that point. I had played a whole tournament the day before on Saturday. That was my 3rd game that day, and I knew I had 2 other games later as well. I had to go drive to Fullerton to go take care of. It wasn't handled the best by either team. But we're gonna try to talk about the result of it, because we only played 3 innings and it was a 10-10 ball game. A lot of offense going on, some walks, especially from OC Wffleball. But we'll see what happens with this. We'll have this one more updated as we go along. We just gotta. This is more of an internal discussion we gotta have with Anthony. He had made some decisions on stuff, but I don't think he's heard the full side of the story yet. So we'll standings will be updated soon, and we'll have more discussion on this one. But for now, I'm not gonna talk about it too much. I'm gonna keep it in house.
Absolutely, I think that's totally fair. But we'll just kind of talk about more about the positives about this game, a little bit more, rather than what all that stuff that kind of happened in there. Tiger Town batters had some pretty good pitching. They had a left-hander who was lighting up the zone pretty well. They had a guy also out there who came in to pitch, had no experience at all, but it seems like he's very interested in joining the league too. So looking forward to see if those guys come in to play for this league. They look like they're a really good group of guys in terms of talent wise. I know one of them has experience playing lacrosse. He came out there with no wiffle ball experience at all, just to kind of see how things are. So I think that's kind of just the big thing about this tournament, was just kind of give people that ability to see the game before they just decide to pay upfront a big price tag, which is around $85 right now. Which I should mention, the early bird registration will end pretty soon for the fall season. So if you haven't signed up, get your team figured out and get your guys in there. If you haven't signed up yourself, please do so you don't get charged extra $10 on your registration fee. But yeah, I think this is just a good insertion for newer people to be able to experience the game a little bit. I mean, obviously the rules are different, but we made it so it's like somewhat similar to OC Wffleball rules. So it's kind of a clean transition once you get to the regular season games, and then you can be a part of all of that action and stuff. So yeah, I think that's I mean, obviously, that's the end of the, for day one of the games situation. But I think overall, I think the outlook of the tournament wise, I think it's a good way for newer people to experience the game without having to pay such a high price tag.
Yeah, it's only with the discount, it's $15 per player in this thing, which is not bad at all for 3 days. To be out of park, we out here with other people, get to meet some new people, some potential interest out here. As we're looking at it from a board perspective, hopefully get some people out there, more people out there, so we can have more teams to play, so we have more competition out there and things like that. Just going back to that last game a bit, like I said, we're trying to figure out the result of it, whether it will be continued, whether it be given as a win for one of the teams, or just as a tie. I'm hoping we're able to continue this game and play on, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what the ruling comes down to. We got to have more conversations with that. But Chris Lee was hitting. Tiger Town was hitting well in that game. They had I believe like 4 home runs in that game. Chris Lee had a home run or 2. Jordan had his first bomb of the day in that game. Struggled a little bit in his first couple of bats, but then found a bomb later on there. But we'll see what happens with that. But we can get into some of the standings that we see right now in terms of like record and run difference so far. So we got at the top right now. Depending on that third game result, OC Wffleball will be the top team. They've be either could be 3-0, 2-1, or 2-0-1, but regardless, they'll be the top team. Only them and Wiffle D's ended up with 2 wins on the first day. OC Wffleball then had the higher run differential between the 2 teams as well. So Wiffle D's will be second behind them, finishing the day 2-1. MS Warriors in their next had a +5 run differential, making themselves 1-1 after game 1. OC Smash in their next 1-1 record, a little bit lower run differential. Next, we got the Tiger Town Batters, who we got to figure out that 5th game, whether it'll be 1-1, 0-2, or 0-1-1. And then, unfortunately, last is the OC Seals, who were 0-2 on the day. So that's how the standings, at least the way we see it, pan out. We'll get more standings and stuff in the future. Like I said, we were trying to get some standings and scores and stuff from Anthony, but he was unable to give us anything right now. So he'll put some more stuff out later as we go along here.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the standing wise, it's interesting stuff. OC Seals are, I guess there's some of their guys are still trying to figure it out, but this is your kind of outlook for now as we head into the break here, and then we'll come back a week later with the August 6 games, and then we'll be back on the show and talk to you guys about those results. Obviously, to people who are watching the show probably did play in the tournament or are looking at this from afar. Teams who are usually in the regular season, and then you come in here to this podcast and you see like, oh, OC Wffleball got a Summer Classic tournament and stuff like that. So maybe you can come out, next year when we have this again and participate in it, because this is a newer thing. So we were expecting a very small group of teams to be a part of this. We actually had a pretty good turnout. 6 teams is actually a pretty good number. Maybe eventually in the future we might have more teams in there as we try to get this tournament a little bit more well known and stuff like that. So first year we're ever trying this as well. So I think for the first series of games, I think it looked pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see how these break down in the future. I know stuff like SoCal Wffleball has had tournaments they can get up to 20 teams. Most recently, they had their most recent tournament, which we'll talk more about later. They had 11 teams. They had 10 teams out there. So we'll see how it all breaks down in the future. Should be interesting to see how things will go. Hopefully, we can build something up. Maybe some other times for tournaments as well. With either OC Wffleball style with a different style, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully we'll see how this one goes for us and see if it's a success or not.
Yeah, so let me just give a little rundown of the August 6 games. Give everyone kind of that preview a little bit. So first game, OC Seals will take on Tiger Town Batters. OC Smash will take on MS Warriors. The OC Seals, after that, will play the MS Warriors after the conclusion of playing OC Smash. Wiffle D's, this is probably the bigger one of the day. Oh, Wiffle D's versus LA Wiffles at OC. You saw Wiffle D's get those double-digit runs. LA Wiffles at OC obviously have good pitching. The batting has been there. You could say it's been somewhat here and there, but I think they're figuring things out over there. OC Smash will take on Tiger Town Batters, and then OC Wffleball will take on OC Seals. Wiffle D's will take on OC Smash, and then the final game is Tiger Town Batters versus the MS Warriors. If you look at the schedule, Steven, is there any games here? I highlighted one. Is there a game you would highlight on that schedule as well?
That Wiffle, the Wiffle D's, an OC Wffleball one. That's one to highlight. The top 2 teams in terms of standings right now. These would be both these teams' first game of the day as well. Wiffledee's been hitting well. OC Wffleball will be without Stephen Hayden for the day. He'll be out of the state, so for a different family wedding. So be more relying on the likes of Dustin Staggs and Jordan Dreschler to carry the load pitching as well. They've got Chris Lee can also do some pitching as well. We'll see how they're able to fare against Wiffledees, who are obviously seeing the ball very well, scoring a lot of runs in all their games. Just not able to score more than the MS Warriors were in game 2. Another one that could be important for the standings. It is one like the OC Seals versus the the OC Smash versus the Tigertown Batters. We'll see how the newbies versus the Anthony's the commissioner. We'll see how that game fares. That could be important for in terms of who gets those middle seeds, and all the seeds will be determined after August 6th. We won't have a podcast either for next week, so that's why we're previewing some of these now. Get a little break for ourselves. We've been doing this a lot, and get a little break for all the people who are able to sit down and listen to us. Guys like Ryan Lavelle, I know he said he tunes into every episode, and even Dustin, my teammate Dustin Stacks, was telling me he was able to. He was sitting through some of the previous episodes and said he wasn't getting bored. So we appreciate that as well. We appreciate people listening and coming to check it out. He said he was getting, even though he's never played in the league before, he was getting invested. He felt like himself getting invested in some stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how these games go after the next week. But I think there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some interesting shakeups. Will OC Wffleball remain on top? I think especially that OC Wiffledee's game will be big in terms of figuring out that final seeding. But right now, OC Wffleball's got a pretty good path to be the top team. After this, MS Warriors could easily take that with 3 wins here. OC Wffleball will have that head-to-head advantage right now. That's why that game this Sunday was big for those two teams. But OC Wffleball right now in the driver's seat in terms of getting that number 1 overall seed, which maybe you don't want. But no, if I'm OC Wffleball, I do want that.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're talking about that little curse thing. So who knows? Maybe if we're able to get the driver's seat, then we'll see what plays out. Yeah. So Steven said it already. We're gonna take a little break here. Obviously Steven's got some things going on with the the weddings and stuff. Myself, I've got some stuff to work on with the Mavericks team, and then I've got a lot of other schoolwork stuff I've got to get done. So we're just going to take a little break next week because there's not a whole lot of things to really talk about beyond that point, since we've kind of covered most of the fall season and winter season stuff that's going to happen. Once we come back, obviously we'll have plenty to talk about. We're going to talk about those results of the second week of games, and then we'll talk about because we'll have a clear picture of what the bracket will look like at that point, like who's in which seeding and this and that, and then we can also make our predictions from there on and see who would be the crowning champion of the OC Wffleball Summer Classic 2023. And if we got any other stories for you, which we most likely will by that point, and we'll share everything with you. And we appreciate everybody able to watch the show. Last week we had a really big turnout with Lucas Sardo joining our show as the guest star, and I think we had a lot of fun with that. So I'm gonna keep rolling these out as much as possible, just for this one time. I think we're gonna just take a little small break, and then we'll come back and we'll have those stories rolling out for you guys as always.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our wrap up for the tournament. Now we got some other OC related football stuff that you can go for if you want.
Yeah. So this about 2 weeks ago we had our board members meeting, which was mostly to talk about the rules for this upcoming regular season and then also the OC Wffleball Summer Classic. But we had mentioned, or I should say Anthony mentioned, about this little collaboration thing with the Westcliff University softball team, who were coming out to the beach at Newport to kind of actually learn and play OC Wffleball a little bit and just get that preview of what the game is like. So kind of volunteered actually to go out there and represent OC Wffleball. Steven also joined as well out there, so we had 2 representatives for OC Wffleball helping out with the little demonstration we had out at the beach. So we were at Newport. On the sand actually is where we played this little demonstration game stuff. So we were out there with our good friend Coach Vanessa. Shout out to her. Want to thank her for letting us be a part of that whole thing and getting that organized with all the players and stuff. I think everyone had a good time. We had some people who were definitely interested in that whole demonstration that we had out there. Obviously, it was very hot on the beach out there. Steven can attest to that with the feet a little bit. But I think it was a good day with all the softball players. It seemed like they're really enjoying playing out there and with the rules. Even the coaches, there was a lot of really cool moments in that game. But I'll let you share your bit of the half of the story, and then I'll share a little bit of mine as well.
Yeah, last week we talked about in the podcast about trying to get chicks, and this is Justin's best way to try to get around some females as well.
I don't know about that. If you want to consider it that way, you totally can. But I didn't see it that way. I saw it as a good opportunity to, get some.
We know your other motives.
Okay, go ahead.
But in all seriousness, you get a chance to introduce some new people to Wiffleball. We started up the co-ed thing. With the Purple League, you want to try to get more females out there, or you have an all-female team in Division 2 possibly. I was teaching them some of the pitch. We were teaching them the rules. I was teaching them some different pitches to throw. They got to experience how hard it was to throw to the zone at the beach. You gotta aim a lot differently, and you gotta aim a lot higher and have the wind kind of carry the ball down and hit the zone. So we end up doing a lot of practice. Start off with, we end up splitting a couple teams, played a little 4-inning game. Things like that. I think they seem to be enjoying it. I think they were getting used to it. Some of those people are not going to be at Westcliff for the next year, but I'm sure if they can Westcliff for the next year, they'll be interested in coming out, and the people that were there will be able to tell their other teammates that weren't there on the day about the Westcliff OC Wffleball softball events. And then it was put on Instagram as well about some stuff about Westcliff being starting to put some players in the league as well. So obviously Dylan Hoffman being the coach, being Drake Hoffman and Kyle Froome being coaches on the Westcliff baseball team, and then with Vanessa being the softball head coach, and we have a lot of connections there. And then it's potential I may go to Westcliff, so there's a lot of potential there for involving more stuff through them. But I think this day out there, it was a good day out there. End up playing with some other Wiffleball afterwards as well, and went straight out to a baseball game right after that. So overall, I think it was a good time out there, and hopefully they enjoyed it and want to keep coming back out.
Yeah, OC Wffleball has kind of become this thing where it's like, you come out here for a recreational sport, you just have fun with your group of guys or girls, and just have a good time with each other, and just making some new friends that are around the community. And this was kind of that community pitch a little bit. Obviously softball players have good experience hitting with the ball, obviously. In our book a little bit, actually, some of the pitches that they see in softball, they also might see in Wiffleball as well. That different way that you throw the ball, such as a riser, they'll see that a lot more often. The balls that are high in the zone, they could swing it off easily. I think that was just kind of the big thing, was being able to easily adapt to that situation and having them kind of play around with it and see if they enjoyed it or not with the the kind of rules that we have for OC Wffleball. So, and obviously the big thing was promoting the co-ed league a little bit, and then Division 2 if they feel like doing it, because obviously they're going to be new to the game coming into Wiffleball. And I think it was a very fun collaboration. I think it was a good idea to have that, and I think maybe in the future we might have more with those connections coming in back and forth, and then we can have more demonstrations for other people. Like you could get some a day where you just invite people out and have an open thing, and just have people be a part of that demonstration and see the game itself and have some experience in there. But yeah, they seemed like everybody was having a good time. There was bombs hit off of me all day, which usually happens. And then the coach for the softball team, not Vanessa, one of the assistant coaches, actually had a one-handed grab, which is sick, in that game. But it seemed like everyone was having a good time. I hope we get to see some of them out there this fall, playing out with some of the guys, or if they decide to make a whole softball team, which would be epic as heck. And I should mention, actually, if any of the softball players are watching this right now, if you are thinking about it, you can go talk to Coach Vanessa right now. She has a discount code for you, and she'll share that with you for all the softball players. So all softball players will get a discount if you go to Westcliff University for this upcoming fall season.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some more. Wiffleball, especially Wiffleball, is a lot more dominated by the men and boys usually. So especially for the co-ed stuff, Anthony wants to try to get more females in there. So. Hopefully we'll continue to see more as we go along. Not for the sake of just for the sake of having a little more diversity, and see if some of these single losers playing with are able to find some females like Lucas Sardo.
Yes. Oh man, yeah. That's this opportunity to go pick up somebody, which I guess he hasn't yet, but. Yeah. Good luck, okay. Lucas. I mean, he's part of a group of guys who are all engaged, married, like you said, or have a girlfriend. And he did give them a shout out in the last podcast. So, like I'll quote him here: help a guy out. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think it's just the biggest way to try to get some other people involved. I think it's a good way of getting people out there to see the game a little bit and play with the rules that we've got set here. And then for people who have baseball experience, like, it's an easier transition for people who generally have no baseball background whatsoever, and then you can, if they get good at it eventually, then you got better competition and say things like Division I. So I think it was fun.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, if you're looking for the discount code, go talk to head coach Vanessa. And once again, shout out to her. Appreciate her letting us be able to be out there and represent OC Wffleball as board members, and be able to teach everybody the game of Wiffleball in the eyes of OC Wffleball rules. Our next segment will actually cover a little bit about Stevens Day on Saturday, which was at the SoCal Wffleball Tournament. Unfortunately, I was not able to go out there, so Steven actually went with Dustin. Or fortunately, yes. Obviously, the history behind that is that every time Steven and I or Jordan are on the same team, we have lost to Dustin's team in whichever round it is. So far, we're 0-2. But Steven went with Dustin this time, so he kind of went with the mesh a little bit. I'm actually going to probably let you talk about this more a little bit, but the result was a lot better than when he's with us. So take it away.
Yeah, so on the day, basically we talked about the United Wiffleball Tournament on some of the previous podcasts, especially last week. I'm going to be going there with SoCal Wiffle this year, with guys like Destin Staggs, Ethan Johnson, and Ben Wemple, and hopefully that four will be able to do some damage out there. I want to start getting some little more chemistry in terms of playing with these guys. So this team, it was going to be the Panthers team and me. It was going to be me, Dustin, Jackson Blum, and Ethan Johnston. But then the night before, Ethan texts and says he's not able to go, and then Jackson apparently never responded. So it ended up just being realistically, you want to kind of have three. You can have three people out in the field and playing stuff, or four. But me and Dustin went in this just by ourselves. And that's not a bad duo to have. This took place on Saturdays, so by the time we got to that OC Wffleball tournament and my games later that night on SoCal Wffleball, I was extremely tired. A lot of throwing for me, and I didn't even go to my baseball games on Saturday and Sunday. So more on this tournament. We have a good start. We'll usually play 3 pool games, but one team had to pull out because their guys didn't show up at the last sec. Like they got told the morning of they weren't going to be there. So one of our games we were given a 1-0 victory because we were playing them. First game of the day we won 8-0. Second game was that forfeit 1-0. And the third game we were actually playing against their team name was Paul Joseph and his disciples, but that's actually PJ Gordon, who's Paul Joseph is because that's his name. To get a funny Bible reference and stuff like that. We played them. I had a walk-off 2-run homer to give us a 2-0 lead in pool play. We ended up getting the number 2 seed, just missing out on run difference to the Long Beach Whiffs, which we talked about on the podcast a long time ago, back when we did our first tournament on New Year's Eve. We had these Long Beach Whiffs guys. I believe they're something between the ages of 12 and 15. They practice wiffleball a lot. They're very good, as we'll get to in a minute. So we end up being, they were the 1 seed. We end up being the 2 seed going to the tournament out of 10 it was out of 9 teams at this point because we were supposed to be 10, but then that 10th team, as I said, only one guy was able to show up, and you can't play with 1 out there. You can go with 2 like we did. So the first game of the proceeding, it's a 2-7 matchup for us. We played a team called NorCal Baseball, who they wanted a different name, which I'm not going to say on here. That's something I can tell Justin off camera, but I'm not gonna reveal the name on here. But it's actually consists of Walker Randolph, Evan Ursula, and Stephen Bogard. Which funny enough, Walker Randolph is my captain for the Sharks in SoCal Wffleball. And Evan Ursula is one of our players for OC Wffleball as well. So you get a bit of a funny matchup there. We end up beating them 3-0. A lot of stuff happening as well. I forgot to mention this earlier. After all the pool play games, there was all the sprinklers started going off in the field. So we getting ready to start the playoffs and stuff, and all of a sudden the sprinklers are going off in different areas, something that never happened before. They apparently started a new time for the sprinklers to go off during the day now. Normally, I was talking to someone about it. Normally they do like 8 o'clock in the morning and then like later at night, but apparently they added a time for the first time during the middle of the day.
Somebody did that on purpose, I think.
It made things interesting and messed up some of the batters' boxes and mounds and stuff, but. That first game, we won that game 3-0. We then go take on the Outlaws, who from that we talked about from that December 31st tournament. They were actually the number 1 seed after the first round. They had the older guy with the mustache. I'm blanking on his name, but they were the 3 seed. We ended up beating them 2-0. I had a very good offensive game in that one. Had an RBI single, which was an RBI because a couple runs. I was second batter of the game. Dustin had got on due to a walk. I hit a ball to the right side, went under the fielder's legs. Dustin, with his speed, ran it home, scored the first run of the game. Then the second inning, I had a solo home run. I was just seeing the ball really well. Went like 3 for 4 in that game with a walk. We ended up holding on to win that game 2-0. I had bases loaded when I was pitching in the third inning, but I was able to hold on. We made it to the championship. It was my first championship game. The farthest I'd ever made it was the semifinals. Within the previous tournament, which we talked about, was June something, I can't remember. But we lost. Ended up losing to Dustin actually in that one in the semifinals. But they went on to go win the whole thing. So excuse me. I'm still tired from all the Wiffleball I did. On the other side of the bracket, the semifinal game was the Long Beach Whiffs, which talked about earlier, versus PJ and his disciples, which basically the Bomber Llamas. Long Beach Long Beach Whiffs hit a 2-run homer in the second inning and ended up holding on to win that game 2-0. Actually, they hit that home run off of PJ, which was kind of I was expecting to face PJ's team in the final, ended up being the Long Beach Whiffs, which caused for a great final game. First inning, nobody scores. I just missed on a ball. I thought I was going to hit over the fence, but I just missed on and ended up popping out. In the top of the first, Dustin allows no runs in the first inning. Second inning, we get a couple walks, and then Dustin hits one off to the right side. The ball was still rolling when they fielded it into fair territory. It was kind of in that foul fair line. Dustin with a great slide at first to kind of avoid the tag, and then I was on second base to start off, and I ended up running home after they tried to get him at first. So we made it a 1-0 game. Going to the bottom of the second inning, they actually started seeing Dustin all right. Dustin wasn't throwing his hardest. He's been trying to figure out his speed and stuff lately. So they were able to get a few hits off of him. They made it a 3-1 ball game. This will all be coming out in a video much later on as well. Maybe not even until next year when this video comes out. So we go top of the third inning. We're losing 3-1. We need 2 to tie or 3 to go ahead. As Long Beach Whiffs are the home team because they have the higher seed. Work a couple walks. Dustin gets a base hit, scores a run, and then we have runners on first and third. We've done all this with no outs, runners on first and third, and then I had an absolute shot to right center field for a 3-run home run, making it a 5-3 ball game. It was one of the more hyped up moments I've had. Hopefully, when that video comes out, it'll be able to show kind of the emotion that was going on with me and me and Dustin there. It was especially tough for that whole day for me as well, because that first game, because it was still a little wet, I was struggling to run the whole day. My knee is still all messed up from a couple months ago. It got worse. I was doing some home run celebrations with Dustin, and I ended up falling on the ground and had tripped a couple times and ended up messing up my knee. So bottom of the third inning we go. We're winning at 5-3. They get. I walk one guy. They get one hit off of me. 2 runners on first and second. I also got a strikeout and a pop up before. Then 1-2 count. I strike out the last guy to end the game. Very entertaining final actually. A lot of back and forth. Long Beach Whiffs had all their parents and even some of the players' sisters out there and things like that. They had some very good pitching. Especially their first guy, their second guy, we were able to get around to a little better. But I was seeing the ball really well. Even the second inning, I had a home run that went just foul. That could have made it a 3-3 ball game, or we could have made it 3-0 at that point because we were at the top of the second inning. But I was able to win my first Wiffleball tournament. Came home with $100 from that. It was $200 split between the both of us, and also. I'm related to the tournament kind of in a way. I also won the home run derby at the tournament. Out of 8 players, I finished with the most home runs, so I ended up coming away with an extra $20 there. So after the day, I ended up coming home with $120 after that Wiffleball tournament, and a great day overall. Before I had to go to the OC Wffleball tournament and play later. So overall, it was very fun. Getting to understand Dustin a little better. My guess that he's probably still listening to this point, especially with he was talking to me about he thought it was nice that there were the timestamps as well. So he'll probably be listening to this part a lot, or at least listen to this one the whole way through. It was good to be out there. We're making plans to get out to York, Pennsylvania for the tournaments as soon as all the teams sign up. Hopefully, we'll sign up sometime soon. As soon as all those signups are done. We'll start getting ready once we get 40 teams to start getting ready to go out there to York, Pennsylvania, and see what we can do out there in the World Championships. But Dustin and I so far we did pretty well so far that first day.
Yeah, so I guess are you going to be playing with him more in the tournaments? Because it seems like you get the taste of victory whenever you're with Dustin in those tournaments.
We'll see how much I'll be playing with him. Maybe in one way, I wouldn't mind that at all. But the other time, I want to try to get more teams out there for him. I want to go out there play with guys like Jordan Dressler and Justin Lee. But unfortunately, Justin was not available, and since and so I thought let's say Jordan's on for Sunday, and we're just going to ruin my arms. So that's what ended up happening. We ended up having a good day out there. Won my first tournament and things like that. Dustin with his third tournament win of this year alone. Has won all 3 tournaments he's had so far in the summer. Has won tournaments before. So looking to do more of that, and hopefully looking to have some success in York, Pennsylvania. Guys like me and Dustin doing a lot of stuff out there, and then Ben Wemple will be a big pitcher for us and hitter as well, and Ethan Johnson will be a big defender and hitter for us, hopefully. So we'll see what happens out there in York, Pennsylvania. But for the rest of the SoCal season, we'll see what happens here. I think there's some good things to come, and will be some ups and downs in the road, but we'll see what happens.
So your total income on the day was $120, correct?
Yeah, not too bad of the day. I won pretty much the maximum I could out there. If more people can participate in the home run derby, then I would have won more because more people entered, more money you could win and stuff like that. But I'll take it. It was my first time winning either one of those at one of these tournaments, so I'm glad to take whatever I can get, and especially to get those. Especially once that video comes out, that clutch home run in the third inning, I thought that was one of the cooler moments in my Wiffleball career. And then at that point, I was just kind of emotionally running on fumes to try to secure Dustin and I the victory.
Absolutely. Do you have any plans on how you would spend that $120?
Probably put it towards that travel to go to York, Pennsylvania. Either that or probably look at some new bats or balls. I need to order some new cut balls for the tournaments, or possibly I've talked to Ben Cottaspati about buying one of his bats. Currently unavailable right now, but when it comes out, I'll probably buy one of his as well. So probably use something for that.
Okay. Yeah, I was expecting maybe gas money or I'm gonna go buy a new video game type of thing, but smart. Can I keep that part in there? I don't know if I can.
I think you can.
Okay, we'll keep that in there. But yes,
strippers is not a bad word.
Smart man right here. Saving that money up for the big tournament in York, Pennsylvania. Sounds like you guys had fun out there and a good time. And then obviously you got the win finally with the tournament. And then obviously you don't have to face Dustin. You are on the same team as Dustin. So, obviously it's his tournament, his game, his rules. So he obviously understands them a little better than, other teams that come out there are still trying to understand those rules a little bit. But, congrats. And it looks like Dustin just knows how to figure things out with just a 2-man team.
Yeah, well, yeah, the previous tournament he won with a 2-man as well, with just him and Canyon Rabbit. But overall, I've played against Dustin a lot, including the regular season. That video will be out in a couple months. But especially as we're playing together, I want to get some experience with playing on the same team as him.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're going to be playing with Dustin for the next few weeks with the tournament Summer Classic. So, we'll see how everything kind of pans out. But that's kind of, I think that's, the whole gist of just everything that's been going on so far. I think upcoming plans, you still got the tournament coming up. I know we're trying to send a group of guys to go to the United Wiffleball Tournament up in Upland again. And then obviously preparing for the York Penn tournament will be another big thing, but that's obviously something that's way down the road. And yes, hopefully OC Wffleball does enter in and registers, and then we'll have news on that as well later on. But I think we kind of covered up all the topics that we wanted to talk about today. Unless there's something else you'd like to mention before we close things up for episode 17.
No, I think we're good here. We'll be back here in 2 weeks for this. Be a very busy 2 weeks for for you and I, whether it be with baseball or other editing stuff or weddings and things like that. But we'll see what happens. We appreciate the people tuning in. Take one break next week, and we'll come back the next week for getting ready, because we'll be close to the season starting and things like that. So
yeah, so we'll save up our stories and then we'll share it with you when we come back after 2 weeks. And yes, shout out to everybody who always tunes into these shows and watches us, one ding dong and one smart guy
ramble on about nothing.
Yeah, ramble about Lucas Sardo getting a girl, and then hold on, Tyler Moore. So yeah, we like messing around a little bit with some of the things on here, but yeah, I think we've just about covered everything. You know, if you guys aren't subscribed to the official OC Wffleball Instagram, make sure you guys go follow them, and then obviously Hunky Door Sports Show. If you're not subscribed, please do so. I think there's 13 subscribers at the time of this recording, and we had a total of 32 viewers last week, so that's a big difference in numbers there. So if you're not subscribed, please do so. And get the latest on every single episode that comes out for That Scuffed Up and more. And then I think we'll see you, and then we'll take a week off, and then we'll come back the week after, and we'll have you guys check us in and see what's going on in the world of wiffle ball.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks for the August 6th tournament.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's been it for us. So, Justin Lee, Stephen Hayden, this has been episode 17 of That Scuffed Up, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a great day, and stay out of the heat, and a beautiful summer in July/August. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Nah, stay in the heat.